Hey guys, and welcome to the Hellfire Comms Halloween Spooktacular. This is Luigi's Mansion 2, or Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, in America and nowhere else but America. I guess it's Angry Kirby syndrome or something. Anyway, I'm joined for this particular playthrough by an old friend of mine, and the solo commentator for the Prince of Persia 2008 playthrough, X-Gamer Richie.
Hello!
Now, I think it would be best to start off this playthrough by recalling just how we each felt when the game was announced at E3 2011, I think it was?
Something like that. I mean, I've got the wiki thingy up, so I could just double-check that.
Well, while you're fact-checking, I guess I'll just recount how I felt. I remember specifically because I was live-streaming that particular conference, I believe, or at least live-streaming the sound portion. Live-streaming the video, never really a good idea. But, you know, a little bit of atmosphere, you could hear Luigi in the background, and then it very clearly became a Luigi's Mansion sequel trailer, and I was like, Luigi's Mansion 2! Because the original game, while not perfect, was very dear to me, so I was kind of struggling to find the words there to express how dear it is to me, but it was very nice to get a sequel to a game I really enjoyed, and even though they had to make a few compromises to get it to work on the 3DS, including, as you can see here, a more cartoonish visual style, a lower frame rate, if I'm quite honest, and making it, you know, structured around missions rather than just exploring a large mansion, I still think it's a very good game. Have you finished your fact-checking yet? Can I stop stalling for time?
Yes, I have. Sorry, I just thought I'd let you run there. So yeah, you are right. It was E3 2011 when Luigi's Mansion 2 was revealed, although it was pretty much, I think, only revealed as Luigi's Mansion 2, and then later on they decided to rename it Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon for North America, for whatever reason that was.
Fun fact, this mansion, well, I should say this bungalow rather, getting ahead of myself here, in the first game, when you beat the game, slight spoilers here, you were graded on how much treasure you got, and depending on what rank you achieved, Gadd would take your funds, quite selfishly by the way, this is Gadd right here, we'll get to him shortly, and he would build you a house. And the highest rank would be basically a good version of the titular mansion. The lowest one would be a bungalow, which implies that Luigi canonically got the least amount of treasure you could possibly get in the first game.
Actually, I think it was a tent that was the lowest rank, but this was rank D. So it was quite low. But...
Okay, so very low. In line with what we know about Luigi. I didn't actually know there was a tent. You know, I never went out of my way to fail that badly.
I think you had to do pretty damn badly to get there. Although, a really fun fact is that if you play the PAL version of Luigi's Mansion, it's actually impossible to get the A rank unless you're playing the second run of the mansion, because you can't get enough money to get the A rank, which is a bit mean.
Yeah, well, enough wanking off Luigi's Mansion 1, shall we say. Let's get to the business at hand here. This is Professor Gadd, Elvin Gadd. He was the man... I think he's a man, it's kind of hard to tell in the Mario universe, but he's the guy, shall we say, who invented the Poltergust 3000, the Ghostbuster-esque capture device from the first game. He also invented the Poltergust 3001, which was featured in Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga for the Game Boy Advance. I would imagine he made the Poltergust 4000, which is a cart you can drive in Mario Kart DS, and also the Poltergust 5000, which we'll be seeing in this game.
And also Flood.
Mm-hmm.
Can't forget Flood.
Yes, the flash liquidizing ultra dowsing device, and also the reality warping paintbrush that Bowser Jr. stole.
Yeah, the cheeky little git.
There's going to be like a lot of build-up to this first mission. This is one of the main differences compared to the first game. Whereas the first game would kind of let you get on with things, and Gadd would get in touch with you every so often. They kind of loaded it with like loads of text and characterization. And while this isn't necessarily a bad thing, because of the more casual style of the game, it can get a little bit annoying if you just want to get straight into the action.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's also kind of... It's weird because the cutscenes have developed more personality, but then personality seems to be sucked out of, like, the ghosts, really.
Yeah.
It's like the portrait ghosts of the first game are no more. There's nothing quite like them in this game, which for me is personally really disappointing because they were part of the things that I loved so much about the first Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
But what can you do?
Now, you'll notice that the game has a very dark colour palette, and you're probably saying to yourself, well, no shit, it's meant to be horror-esque, but that's actually to help with the 3D, from what I read, and they actually delayed the game. I don't think they could get it to work as well as they wanted to.
I'm not quite sure on that one. I haven't done that much reading up on that side of things, but it would not surprise me in the slightest. I mean, I know that the original Luigi's Mansion, there were ideas of it being 3D, and you can certainly see that in the way that the game is constructed. So it's quite cool that, come the 3DS, they've actually gone back to an original idea from the first game. But it would not surprise me if they were struggling to get the 3D to work properly.
Okay, here we go. This game is actually split up into missions. There's 5 missions for each mansion. Then you get a boss level. There's also a bonus one, which we'll probably be covering at the end of the game.
I like the idea of the bonus missions, but what you have to do to get to them, I'm in two minds about, really.
What do you think about the mission structure in general?
I get why they did it, because they wanted to have sort of the portable nature, so you could kind of play 15 to 20 minute sessions and then put it down and move somewhere else. But in terms of how it feels if you decide to play for longer periods of time, it feels really stilted.
A little bit, yeah.
Because it's like, whilst I'm okay with the game kicking you out of levels after you've beaten them, like Kid Icarus Uprising, I could deal with that. But here, because you're dealing with, like, 5 missions in a single mansion, it kicking you out kind of ruins the flow a bit.
It's a little bit like Mario 64, actually, where you, every time you got a star, it would boot you out of the level, and would basically say, come back later and try it again. Whereas in Banjo-Kazooie, when you got a Jiggy, you could just get it and keep moving, really.
Yeah, it just makes the flow better when you can just play at your own pace, really. And the game doesn't forcibly remove you from the level if you were just getting into it. I have to say, I really love the idea of the pixel shifter.
Why is that?
Just because, kind of... First of all, the sound effects are quite fun. But also, because it kind of harkens back to the very early days of Super Mario Brothers with the 8-bit systems and all of that.
Yeah, which is something Nintendo's never done before, pandering to that kind of retro demographic.
Definitely not. They totally didn't do it in Super Mario 3D World either.
I was talking about dying rates and whatnot, but they do manage to cram a rather impressive level of atmosphere into what is essentially a handheld version of the first game. Really,
this game looks, I would say, far superior to the original game. Obviously that's relatively easy considering that was a GameCube launch title, but the fact of it being on a portable console is just incredibly impressive, really.
Well, I'm not sure I'd agree with it looking better than the original game, because that one still holds up surprisingly well, but it has its own take. It's a lot more cartoony again to, you know, make up for the power of the 3DS limitations and such, but it still looks pretty good. Didn't get a chance to mention this earlier because we were waffling about how much we liked the first game and whatnot, but this is the Dual Scream right here. I think he actually comes up with a proper name for it later, so spoilers, I guess. But in the first game you had the, I believe it was Game Boy Horror.
Yes, it was the Game Boy Horror.
And interestingly enough, when you took pictures with it, Luigi would comment on stuff. I don't think he does that much in this game, if at all.
I don't think he does it at all, because I don't recall you being able to use the Dual Scream as a actual picture-taking thing. I could be completely wrong on that, but...
Ah, how cute. It's got the key that we need to get into the mansion proper.
Yeah, the cheeky little devil.
Yeah, I will come to hate the mice in this game, as will you, because they're more of a nuisance than a challenge, really, especially when you're going for no-hit runs, which is something I've tried to abstain from in this playthrough, if just for my own sanity.
I mean, also the fact of the later on you get, it just gets impossible, especially with some of the ghosts they throw at you.
Not sure how to feel about the lights being on when you enter this particular mansion, because in the, I'm going to be saying in the first game a lot during this playthrough, but the lights were off in that one, so it was very foreboding when you entered. This one is a lot more cozy.
Yeah, it does seem that sort of elements of the atmosphere do get a bit lost, definitely in terms of the lighting, because frequently the lights are always on, and then sometimes you'll go into a cutscene where the lights are off in the room, and then suddenly they're on, and then suddenly they're off when ghosts appear, and it just gets a bit weird.
Alright, brand new shiny ghost sucking device.
Also, I really love that Luigi basically just did a, "You got a thing!"
He's adorable in this game, there really is no other word to describe him.
Oh god, yes. I mean, Charles Martinet did a phenomenal job here. It's like, most of the time he doesn't really get to do a whole lot with Mario and Luigi and company, but they really let him have fun with this game.
I want to agree with you, but all I can focus on is your horrible pronunciation of Charles Martinet's second name.
Oh.
Martini! Shaken, not disturbed.
Sorry, I have so many different words going on in my head that just pronunciations sometimes just go out the window and I just make it up as I go along.
It's fine, it's fine. How do you feel about controlling Luigi in this game? Because, again, in the first game you had the C-stick that helped with the actual aiming mechanics for the Poltergust. Here it kind of, I would say, like, homes in sometimes to make up for it.
Well, it's the gyroscope that's the controlling the positioning of the Poltergust, and I'm not a particular fan of it. I mean, in a way, it's slightly easier to control than the original Luigi's Mansion, because generally you can suck in from quite a large area. However, when it comes to shooting things, which we'll get into later on, and targeting, I had a lot of trouble with that, because the gyroscope doesn't quite work.
It varies from, game to game on the 3DS. Like, the gyroscope controls in Ocarina of Time 3DS, brilliant. Gyroscope controls in, say, I don't know, I'm just going to throw out a random game here, Sonic Lost World 3DS, not all that great.
Have they also, the massive Luigi fights in Dream Team? Oh.
Yeah, Hell Dragon is not a fan of those, but you know what? This is not his playthrough, so he doesn't get an opinion.
Well, it's also my opinion, to be honest, especially the final fight. Oh god.
Well, this playthrough is off to a rip-roaring start, I think. I gotta say, though, they kept the, I wouldn't really call it a staple because it was only in one game, but the mechanic of collecting treasure. I am an avid fan of shiny things, and while there is not as many particular shiny things like emeralds, rupees, etc. Wait, that's a bit of Zelda. I meant to say rubies. There we go. There's still plenty of shiny things to pick up, and they actually have a use beyond getting you a fancy place to live, so stay tuned for that.
Slightly weird what they do with the gem things here, because there is a set amount for each kind of area, and although I think you can get kind of older ones in future missions if you miss them, which is quite nice.
Yeah, there's some exclusive to certain missions in each mansion.
Also, I was, just before we started recording, having a little play of Luigi's Mansion 2, because it's been a long time since I last touched it.
Yeah.
And I completely forgot about the key in the fan. So I was stood running around the first few rooms of the mansion for a couple of minutes, just being like, how do I get through this door?
Hellfire Comms, we play video games, I think.
I also forgot how to run. which is
Richie.
practically integral for this room.
Gadd tells you how to run.
It's been over a year.
Oh, well, whatever.
I'm preparing my mind mentally for Bayonetta 2.
Oh, okay, well, you can do a solo playthrough of Bayonetta 2 then. Goodbye. This is the end of the Luigi's Mansion 2 playthrough. I probably won't be showing this cutscene every single time, but it's the first mission. We can afford to pad it out a little bit.
Notice, lights are off at present. Give it about a minute or two when the cutscene ends. The lights will be on. It's so weird.
Yeah, that's a cutscene atmosphere, I'd say. I coined the term default face, and now I coined the term cutscene atmosphere. I'm multiversatile like that.
Funnily enough, I've kind of stolen your term default face for something that I'm doing as well.
Get used to this, because Gadd loves to call you on the dual screen here.
I love the little theme for the dual screen. It's awesome. I think it's pretty much the main theme from the original game. Just kind of, or it might be the same tune as the Game Boy Horror. Memory's a little fuzzy. But it's really catchy. And I really like it. It's just quite annoying because, once again, the game kind of keeps stopping you from getting where you want to be. It just kind of keeps halting you when you might just be getting into the swing of things.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, whoa, let me tell you a thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, this is the reason we haven't actually encountered any ghosts yet, because unlike in the first game, where you basically had to have good timing with your flashlight or torch, you basically use this Strobulb thing here to blast them with light. It's kind of like a charge feature, and then they're susceptible to, I was very nearly going to say a good sucking there, but a Poltergust attack, let's say. Well, it's a Halloween playthrough. If I can't inject scary thoughts into your mind, what kind of commentator am I?
I wouldn't exactly call that a scary thought. Having kind of said that, I really do like this particular improvement to the gameplay. I know the reason they did it is because kind of the whole aiming thing was kind of taken away, mostly. So they created the bulb to make things easier to catch. And it works much better than trying to aim the flashlight in the original game.
Yeah, I love the original game, but sometimes it would be like really finicky. Like, I'd flash the enemies, not in that way, obviously. And I'm sorry, I can't help but make these puns when I'm talking about flashing and sucking and vacuuming, etc. But sometimes I would flash them with light and they just disappear. I don't know whether that's just because I have really terrible reflexes, but that's just how it is.
I think they were slightly dodgy on the timings with when you were meant to start pulling them into your Poltergust. And that is definitely improved in the sequel here.
I'm going very carefully here so I don't get just like sideswiped by a mouse.
And also, I believe that the golden mice do make a return in this game, but they are not quite as important or as integral as they were in the first game, because I don't recall money being that, well, achieving that much other than unlocking stuff.
Now, as Richie mentioned earlier, there are a set amount of gems for each mansion. For this mansion, the Gloomy Manor, we have the amethysts. Not my favourite precious stone. We'll get to the emeralds, I think, in the next mansion. I'll be much more on board with treasure collecting then.
I have to say, I can't remember quite all the names of the gems, but I would love for there to be some lapis lazuli, or lazuli, or however you want to pronounce it, because I have really fun facts about that type of gem.
Oh yeah.
Because it's very kind of, it's an important thing in the medieval period, which is like my jam.
Yeah, when you do your Prince of Persia shtick, it's all about, you know, ancient religions and stuff like that. It's actually a very fascinating watch. P.S. Watch the playthrough now. Available on Hellfire Comms.
Definitely should.
But since Lapis Lazuli is probably not going to appear here, do you want to say it now?
Well, it's basically the very rich colour blue. It was a very expensive gem, so it got used quite a lot in art and stained glass windows for like the Virgin Mary, because it was an expensive thing, they wanted to use it on something incredibly worthwhile. So that's why whenever you see the Virgin Mary in stained glass windows, it's always that blue.
Okay.
Because they wanted to show how wonderful she was. Yes, I am a literature geek.
He is, offline and online. Such a little thing, but the tinkling of a wind chime, you know, the rain, the wind flowing through the grass, it just makes for a very atmospheric game, even if it is a downgrade from the first one. And I apologise, the comparisons will peter out eventually, but since this is the first part, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't compare it to its predecessor.
Well, I mean, it's kind of what you do when you get a sequel to anything. You kind of have to compare it to the first game to see what has it improved, has anything gotten worse in the transition, and just that sort of stuff. Because otherwise, if you kind of have them separate, it's just like, well, what's the point in looking at it as a sequel?
Yeah, but there's the thing where I do love the game. I really do, but I'm also very critical of the things I love, and sometimes that can come across the wrong way, especially with games like Sonic or Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, definitely, but kind of sometimes you have to be critical to kind of be then able to appreciate what the game does well.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty much what I came to the conclusion with Prince of Persia. Subtle unplug again.
I would not use this bathroom for all the diamonds, rubies, emeralds, or lapis lazuli in the world, especially with that humming coming from the other part of it.
And I mean also the fact that there is a toilet in the same room as wardrobes and chests of drawers. I mean, that seems... And also there's no sink. It seems very unhygienic.
Well, you know, it's split into two halves. There's your sink. Luigi, and I would say pretty much every character in the game, has some fantastic animations in Dark Moon. It's just so charming.
It's brilliant. It's also kind of... There are so many little touches as well, as you were saying with the wind chimes. There's lots of stuff with Luigi as well. Like, the humming's back, and it's even more beautiful than ever. And just all the little touches are just brilliant.
Okay, here we go, our first ghost encounter. Wait until it charges up, boom, done.
So yeah, I definitely do prefer catching ghosts in this game to the original. It does just seem a little bit more...
snappy, I'd say.
Yeah, because the first game it was very, very, very easy to lose the ghosts. Whereas here you can actually comfortably get them all.
It feels good as well, and the better you do here, you're rewarded like with more treasure and whatnot. Like if I just caught them on their own, I wouldn't have gotten gold bars, for example.
Pretty much, yeah, and as we progress through the game and unlock things, kind of your ability to get better rewards is improved, shall we say.
Well, there's a lot more ghosts, so that goes without saying.
Well, true, but also, as the Poltergust gets upgraded, you can basically get better rewards for single ghosts.
And speaking of rewards, since this is a mission-based game, we are, you know, ranked on how well we did. Clear time, number of ghosts captured. Did we lose any health? No, of course not, because this is an Anton playthrough. And treasure, a surprisingly high amount for the first mission. So we get a gold medal, a 3-star rank.
Very, very well done, Tom.
Thank you, co-commentator, who's contractually obliged to praise me.
Also say, I really love the level clear theme.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Music in general is pretty good in Dark Moon.
The main theme overall is still kind of one of the best themes in the game.
Well, like with Mario stuff in general, they kind of remix it a lot. Sometimes you won't realise you're listening to the main theme, actually.
I like how Gadd seemed so surprised that Luigi made it all back with all of his pixels intact.
Yeah, they're like old friends, but Gadd in this game seems a lot more senile and a tad passive-aggressive to boot.
Well, he's just a dick in general, really, isn't he?
Yeah. Yep, that's a gem. That's a ghost.
Yes, I like the spectral mass thing, although it doesn't really do anything.
No. It's like one of the useless stats on a baseball card. How much does this guy weigh? How much did he weigh last Tuesday? I don't really care. Just point it down to fill up space, really. Well, not really, but since you asked.
I like the idea of the vault, but it's a bit pointless, really.
It's mostly like an interactive stat screen, I guess.
Essentially, yeah.
Like, you can check out stuff that you've collected, you can get information on ghosts and whatnot, but we're kind of out of time though, so thank you for listening to our rambling commentary stuff, and we'll see you next time for the second mission of the game. Bye bye for now.